Good mid-Tuesday morning to you. Welcome to the program From Darkness to Light on Ietv with me, Bina Mahes. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's Tuesday, the 3rd of July, 2018. And of course, it is a cloudy, overcast morning. So, you know, after the clouds come the rain, and after the rain comes the flood, unfortunately. But at least we have a bit of a heads up, and it's enough to take precautions, as much precautions as we can. If you know you live in a flood-prone area, you know what to do. Take precautions, put everything that's valuable at a height, get sandbags on standby, because you know what? The weather is going to get worse, unfortunately, like our news headlines say this morning. Another tropical wave is set to bring intervals of showers and thunderstorms from today and is expected to continue into tomorrow, Wednesday. Weekend rains brought on by a passing tropical wave, which saw flash flooding across the country, left disaster management units busy on Monday with cleanup operations. However, the Meteorological Service on further advised that the deluge is not yet over, as another tropical wave is expected to bring in inclement weather. Further, the Met Office said gusty winds and street or flash flooding is likely. The peak of the event is expected between 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Wednesday. So that's 12 a.m. meaning after 11 p.m. tonight, 12 a.m. Wednesday morning to 12 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, which is about average lunchtime or so. Meanwhile, a stabbing incident at Movie Town in Port of Spain has left one employee injured. Reports say that around 8 p.m. last night, the victim was working behind a counter on the concession area when a man jumped over the counter and attacked her with a large knife. Initial reports indicate that she received a minor stab wound to the hand and that her injuries were not life-threatening. She was reportedly attended to by a physician who was in the cinema at the time of the incident. Swift action by security officials saw the suspect detained within 5 minutes. And finally, Caribbean Airlines has advised that effective June 30, 2018, new carry-on baggage restrictions are in effect for all passengers flying to the United States of America. This comes following a directive to airlines from the United States Transportation Security Administration. According to TSA, any powder-like substance, with the exception of baby formula, medically prescribed powder-like substances, and human remains, will now be forbidden in carry-on and cabin luggage if the quantity of the substance is over 350 milliliters or 12 ounces or 350 grams. The same limitation applies to the capacity of the container, which cannot be over 350 milliliters. Take note there. And in diaspora news, now we go to India, as Union Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari has ruled out any exemption from toll collection at national highways in India, saying that people should pay if they want good services. The minister said toll collection can never go if funds are to be raised for constructing roads under the build, operate, transfer model. Expressing concern over the rise in instances of road accidents, he said his ministry is working towards ensuring safe travel on the nation's highways. As many as 1.46 thousand people had lost their lives in 4.6 thousand road accidents across India in 2017. The demand for toll waiver has been a long-standing one with NGOs and opposition parties. While India has to do what it has to do in order to get some sort of order, as is Trinidad as well. You know, lots and lots of people are lining up on service stations and inspection bays and licensing office as well to, of course, get their vehicles examined and, of course, pay their $300 fee. Just as India, they too have to pay their fees in accordance to the law. So we are not alone, right? We go to our inspirational segment for today and continue with more. Stay tuned.
We all want to save money without compromising on the best quality insurance coverage. If you are renewing your motor or homeowner insurances soon, then call us at Ietv Consultants. With over 27 years in the insurance industry, we can offer you significant savings on your insurance premiums. As agent for Guardian Group, we assure you the best quality coverage at a very competitive price. Email us at ietwgroupmail@gmail.com.
Hello, I'm Andy Johnson, inviting you to join me for This Week with Andy Johnson here on Ietv, a one-hour review of the top stories of the week and the major personalities behind the news. Beginning July 8th, This Week with Andy Johnson.
This Week with Andy Johnson, Sundays at 7 p.m. starting July 8th.
Hello, join me, Chandani Chandra, Miss Trinidad and Tobago 2017 as I count down the top 10 Bollywood hits and tidbits right here on IETV.
Hi, join me next Tuesday on Current Issues with Dr. Kirk Megu at 8 p.m. and repeated on Sundays at 4 p.m. when we'll be looking at our recent partnership with China on the New Silk Road. Is this a positive development? Is China a new emerging global superpower that we should be cautious about? Do they have our best interests at heart? What is the New Silk Road and how can it benefit us? We'll be speaking to the world's foremost experts on the topic next week. Make sure you don't miss this important episode. Join me next Tuesday at 8 p.m. right here on IETV.
Welcome back to the program From Darkness to Light on IETV. Thank you so much for joining us this Tuesday mid-morning. So if you would have remembered, for Indian Heritage Month, which was the month of May, we featured some Biraha singing done by Naresh Dhimal. And of course, I tried to explain to you the origins of Biraha singing and of course the instruments used, but I obviously am not a Biraha professional. So I brought in Naresh on set with me and we spoke about his journey in terms of who is Naresh Dhimal. Yes, we know him as the Biraha Raja, but who is he? Why did he choose to continue to perform Biraha singing, the origins of Biraha singing, of course the instruments used, the different tals used, every and anything Biraha singing. He also explained a bit to us about the language and of course Biraha, the evolution of the singing as well. So up next we have an interview with Naresh Dhimal, the Biraha Raja. Do enjoy, stay tuned, you may learn a lesson or two just like I did. So stay tuned and take a look. Back to the program From Darkness to Light on IETV with me, Bina Mahes. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, today I have a special treat for you. On set with me, no stranger to TV or the entertainment industry, I have Mr. Naresh Dhimal, and Naresh is better known to you and many of us as the Biraha Raja. Welcome, Naresh.
Well, Sitaram.
And Sitaram, welcome, and thank you for being here this morning.
It's a pleasure being here, as always.
All right, tell us about yourself, Naresh. For many of us, we hear about the Biraha Raja. Who's the Biraha Raja?
Well, the Biraha Raja is just an ordinary human being doing the works, carrying on culture and traditions brought by our ancestors. I have a passion for it, really and truly. And that is why I have decided, let me move forward with this. Singing and even some dancing, and even now, because of Biraha Raja, doing some teaching as well.
Really?
Yes.
And Biraha, that is a type of singing that stems from India. What is Biraha?
So my correct name really and truly is Naresh Dhimal. And when I started to go wrong, I had a likeness for Biraha singing. It's a folk song. So I decided to come up with the name Biraha Raja. And Biraha is one of these genre of music that I would sing together with traditional folk, bhajans, and like sohars and viva geets, which is wedding songs, and all these different styles of music. But Biraha was the one that stood out because in Trinidad, that is a art form that is dying.
It is.
Yeah. Or it was, should I
yes,
say.
it was,
Yes.
because you kind of revived it now.
Yes.
Because I know there are different genres, like you said, there's the bhajans, there's the traditional songs for
Yes.
weddings, then there's the chutney arena, the
Right.
traditional chutney. But then Biraha is something that we inherited from our forefathers in India.
Yes, just as all these other genres as well, because they all started in India.
Yeah, they did.
But what happened is that the Biraha singing started now, where Biraha actually means separation.
Okay.
And when the Gwals and the Gwalins, the cowherders and the cowherdesses, they were separated from Lord Krishna. They would attend to the cows, and because they were so sad, they started to sing of their separation from the Lord.
Okay.
And that is where Biraha singing started.
Okay.
That's one way of Biraha singing starting in India. Now it is mainly sung in the Bhojpuri or the Awadhi language. And another form of Biraha singing, how it started, in rural villages, these singers would stand on platforms in villages and start to sing. Now in Trinidad we have extempo for carnival time, right?
Yes, yes, we do.
So this is almost a similar effect Biraha singing takes in India. And they would sing about current issues and social needs and whatnot. And the villagers in that village now, because back in those days they don't have newspapers and whatnot.
Of course.
And this is how they would be kept abreast of the current situations that are happening.
They would sing about it.
They would sing about it.
Right.
So it's a local composition as well.
Right. So when they sing about it, of course, they would have gatherings.
Right. So they would stand on the platform and the crowd would gather to listen what they have to say, because they know this is their form of news kind of thing.
Right.
How
So
they
it
get
was
their news.
a musical form of
Yes,
news and
yes.
informing of current affairs.
Indeed.
Because like you said, in very rural areas in India, of course, they don't have the newspaper, they won't have the internet, they won't know what's happening.
Right.
So they would gather and listen. It's a fun way of news.
Yes, and what happened now is that when they had to leave India and come to Trinidad, remember when they were in India, they knew what was happening there and they could have sing of that.
Right.
But when they had to leave India to come to Trinidad, they did not know where Trinidad is or even what is Trinidad, because they had no clue whatsoever of Trinidad
Right.
or where they were going. So when they reached here and they knew absolutely nothing, they wanted to keep their traditions and bring something with them. But what they remembered the stories of their Lord. And that is how Biraha singing in Trinidad took a turn towards the religious side.
Right.
So everybody in Trinidad started singing Biraha on the religious side, religious Biraha, because those were the Birahas the ancestors could have remembered, those stories that they could have remembered about the Lord.
Right.
And this is now, when they came here and they started to work, and so they started to go on the plantation, cut the cane, and they carried where they started to write their own Biraha now about the sugar cane plantation and stuff. Yeah.
Right. So of course they still kept
So
it
they
current.
adapted.
They adapted and they
Yes.
still kept it current. So
Kept
it was
it,
no
yes.
longer news from India.
Right.
It was a bit of the religious, but then they spoke maybe about their masters and the slave masters.
Yes.
And right.
And they would think, and the Biraha song is normally sung to the Nagara beat.
Nagara.
Nagara is a hand, we hear it in our local tasa,
Tasa,
right?
right.
But there's also a drum called the Nagara drum, where there would be a big tal placed on the ground and a bass drum set up, and they play it with two sticks sitting on the ground.
Right.
It, for those who are familiar with Biraha singing in the earlier days in Trinidad, would be familiar of that Nagara drumming being accompanied with the Biraha singer.
Right, and I think if we have chance after this interview, I will put up
Yes.
one of those songs
Yes.
so our viewers can, of course, get a little taste
Of, yeah.
the Biraha singing and the
Biraha,
drum that you're
yes.
speaking of. Which, so back then, our ancestors, our forefathers, they sang about what was happening in the sugarcane field. Current Biraha songs and compositions, is it the same thing about our forefathers, or is it something different or something new?
Biraha singing now, what we have, in terms of, when I say we, I mean myself and the one or two others, there's only about a handful of us that sing Biraha in Trinidad now, right? And what we normally do is we sing mainly traditional religious Biraha because plenty people would want the Biraha singing for like when they have Ramayans and religious functions.
Right.
However, there are some non-religious but very cultural Biraha that we will sing as well. If somebody want to have a wedding and they want, because Biraha singing long time was very popular at the cooking night or the Batwan night of a wedding.
Right.
And so we have started, and then what now we have adapted to is including certain current affairs in our Biraha.
Right.
But you see, one of the downfall that we have and we are facing with society today is the lack of the understanding of the language. And because they may not understand what we sing in Hindi, then they do not understand what we sing at all.
Right.
So it makes almost no sense
They
to
would
them.
just go with the rhythm.
Yeah, so they just thinking it's an old song. So now, for they to understand, we have to write it in English.
Really?
Yes.
So again, you have to modify it.
Enhance it
And
and modify
enhance
it,
it
yes.
for our...
Revolutionize Biraha singing, so to say.
Right, of course, because the younger generation, we know, of course, they will not be familiar with the language.
Of course, and not only that too, traditional Biraha singing, you look at it, the singer would stand with a normal white dhoti and a white kurta. He would have two dancers dancing with him, and he would also have the drummer sitting there. And the layout on the stage would be the drummer first, the two dancers in the middle, and the singer on the extreme right. And when the singer is singing, the dancers don't dance. They just stand up right there and they shake a little bit.
Right.
But when he calls for the drum and the Nagara drum starts to roll, they would dance now and go towards the drum, because in this Biraha singing, they say the drum is calling.
Right.
And they start to dance. However, if you look at portrayals of today Biraha, myself and my Biraha guru, Sadhu Bodram Ramgulam from Diamond Village, I have adopted what is known as the Biraha Raja. So everybody asks if Biraha Raja means I'm the king of Biraha singing. And I said no. If you look at the outfit that we portray Biraha singing in, it's a king that is singing Biraha.
Right.
We have adapted that. We have interchanged now the Raja Harichan dance.
Right. But why Biraha? Because there's so many different types of songs.
Traditional folk bhajans, they are carried out by many different singers across. And when you go to Ramayana and Satsang, you would hear people singing these traditional bhajans and folk songs, right? Wedding songs and like sohars and stuff. We have people who are doing those. My good friend Auntie Rukmini Bipat, she has done a wonderful job in compiling those songs into books and CDs and educating, teaching as well in Trinidad. But how much people do you hear singing Biraha or knowing of Biraha? And from small growing up, I had a likeness for it, like I said. And that is why I decided, here's what, there's nobody carrying on this anymore. I will decide to do it.
To do it. And the types of songs, you said you also perform sohars and
yes, I do
songs.
sohars, and so sohars are songs that are sung at the time of birth of a child. So like you get those songs in Barahis and Chatis and whatnot, the case may be. Even sohars could be sung when somebody has a birthday celebration. You can sing those songs as well.
And of course sohar songs for our viewers, it's a celebration type of song. Because if I remember correctly, it is a type of songs that was sung for Lord Rama at his birth.
Yeah, Lord Rama as well as Lord Krishna. Yes.
And of course we will still hear the names of Ram and Krishna in these sohars.
In these songs, yes.
In these songs. Naresh, you spoke about a foundation that you pioneered. Tell us a bit about it.
Okay, so after singing Biraha and going out there, I decided there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I consulted with a few of my close friends who are interested in the same thing. And we decided to form the Biraha Raja Cultural Foundation. This organization was registered last year for Indian Arrival Day. And we are geared towards promoting Dharma and culture. In fact, our slogan is keeping ancient traditions alive. So what we are geared towards is the education and teaching not only of Biraha singing, but also traditional folk music. so even including some classical, because I know there are a lot of people outside that are doing a lot of work on classical singing. We will also incorporate it, but we are also focusing on the traditional folk and Biraha singing. What is a Biraha? What musical accompaniment Biraha needs? How to sing a Biraha, because you have certain executions you have to perform as well.
Right.
And then also in terms of even in the course outline that because we are putting together right now, it will include you to write your own Biraha, bringing back that ancient art, because our ancestors did their own writing of their songs. Yeah, and that is...
So the foundation, the cultural foundation, is kind of like a school,
it's,
an educational institute?
It's not an educational institute at the moment, but what we are getting towards is the building of a cultural center, where we would have teaching, but we are an entity that promotes culture. So we would also be joining with many other different entities to promote cultural shows and, you know, to assist in whatever way we can to ensure that Dharma flag is flying high.
Right, Narish, do you write your own songs?
I have written about 3 or 4 songs. Haven't sung them as yet, but I have written one or two of my own songs. Yes.
And the other songs, of course,
the other songs are
inherited.
yes, ancient traditional songs that are not regularly sung. These were songs that when they came and they were coming on the boat, they used to sing. Sometime when they come here, but these songs would have messages to take you back to ancient times.
Right, and of course, the rhythm of the Biraha using the Nagara drums. It's an upbeat tempo.
Right, so it's the Nagara drums were used, and people have had this perception that without the Nagara drumming, you cannot sing Biraha. That is where another revolutionization has come about, where we have taken Biraha singing. I have sung Biraha with Tasa, which is the most common. I have done it with Dholak, the tapu drumming, and even I have sung Biraha with Tabla.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So any form of drumming, once they have the Nagara beat towards it, I could sing Biraha. And in fact, not only me alone. Once you learn Biraha singing, you can adapt to any style of drumming. And it goes to show that we don't need the Nagara drumming only. We can adapt, so we can carry on that tradition of Biraha singing.
Right. And of course, many viewers and many persons may not know there is a difference between chutney and Biraha. Is there?
Yes, there's, of course, there's a vast difference. Chutney music would have started mainly stemmed not from Biraha so much, but from the in local classical there's a style of singing called Kimta, and if you listen to a Kimta, it's really it sounds like a slowed down chutney. All they basically did is take the same song and speed it up, and it sounds much as a beat song, a chutney, as a spicy song, because you know chutney is a spicy
condiment.
Yes, so that is how they got that. And what they started to do now, they have been taking our classical songs, our Biraha songs, even some of our religious songs, and singing it in this chutney beat.
Right.
So what we do when we go to sing, and we will sing a song, and for example, I just share this little piece with you. So I sing like Hare Gokul chali jao sange lagal kanhaiya, Gokul chali jao sange lagal kanhaiya. He sange lagal kanhaiya, sange lagal kanhaiya, Gokul chali jao sange lagal kanhaiya. People will hear that and will think it's chutney, I want to start a dance.
Right.
So what our duty as singers, what we do when we go to perform, we let them know this is a traditional folk bhajan, because it says that you're going to Gokul and you're going with no one but Lord Krishna.
Right.
And the song goes on to explain that when you go, you don't have any food, you're hungry, Lord Krishna will provide for you. How could that be chutney music?
Exactly. I understand, and I know because many of the younger chutney, well, I have to say chutney soca performers, they would take the bhajans, because we would hear it in the airwaves, whether we choose to hear it or not. A car might be passing and you would hear the song, but then you would know you grew up in temple singing that song. And then I was thinking, is it a way to popularize bhajans was it, or do they know what they're singing sometimes?
And it goes back, you know, the education.
Right.
Lack of the education of the language.
Right. Because, of course, the songs will be popular, the pageants will be popular, but like you were saying, the understanding and the language, many persons are not trained or may not know what it means.
And nothing is wrong if
nothing is wrong with it.
nothing is wrong if they don't understand. But if you know you're going to sing a song, find out from someone who knows what this song means, so that you know how to portray that song.
Right. Narish, speaking about training and education, were you formally trained in Bhojpuri, or you said you had a guru, Biraha?
Yeah, Biraha Guru. To be very quite honest, I haven't been professionally trained or anything of that sort. But from small growing up, being associated by these people. Now, this Biraha Guru, I happened to met him over the internet. Yes, going on YouTube and stuff and finding his songs. And then I met him at one of my uncle's satsang. And it was the day before my birthday, and he gave me all the blessings. He said, son, you go ahead and you start to sing Biraha. I bless you, I give you that blessing. And I have had 2 or 3 different persons have given me that Bardan, so it is a Bardan blessing. And with their guidance, I carry on.
Right, because it is the singing itself, the Biraha singing itself, or an art form like that. Yes, you can be trained for it, but sometimes it has to come from within.
Yes.
And of course, Biraha is your passion, right?
Yes, it is, of course, it is indeed.
And passion stems from within. Growing up, you said you also followed that type of music.
Yes, I also, from at a very tender age, I started in temple group, and then we started to sing in the temple group. Then I started to go around with a pandit. We go around to different areas in Trinidad, and we sing in the Kirtan group. And that is where now I would sing my folk songs. So everybody started to know me as the boy who would sing these chatak bhajans. And then when the pandit realized that I used to sing Biraha, and I started to sing Biraha, when he would introduce me now, he said, we now have a Biraha by Narish. Not a bhajan anymore, a Biraha. So it started to become more popular as people would request, because it would, and you know, I share this as I remember, many places I go, Bina, and I would sing Biraha. And I would get a few older people coming up to me and saying, you remind me of my ancestors' days when my Aji was alive, or my Aja. And I remember some of them come and tell me, boy, you take me back to my wedding, because it's the last time I heard that kind of singing was from when we was married in.
Right.
And it feels, I wouldn't like to tell you, it feels really nice that I can bring back, I can make them reminisce a bit.
Right.
Yes.
It's not the usual type of music we would hear in a wedding now.
Of course.
Or in a farewell, the Saturday night now.
Yes, because long ago, the Saturday night, they would have the Raja Harichan dance, which is a story, it's a storytelling with a play. And only males would portray that. So when you have a female part to portray, the males would dress up like the females.
Right.
Because long ago, it was prohibited for females to dance in public.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, I know. I read that it was frowned upon. Even in India, they would say, they would call them the courtesan dancers, and they were just dancing for entertainment, which was not permitted. And even here in TNT now, we have a number of dance groups, and it's normal now.
It's normal now, yes.
It's normal. You know, speaking of which, a long time ago, there was Miss Dana Bahar. And growing up, I would hear when the host is introducing a type of song or tassa, they would say the combination of the music. You would hear Biraha, Nagara, and whatever types. So it's various beats.
So the Nagara itself is a beat that you play on the drum. Yeah, so one of the way that in singing we would recognize the beat in terms of with words. We have 2 ways we say it. We say either takni nadin, or you say, but the drum, when you're learning to play it now, so they say, pick him up and knock him down.
Ah.
So you keep repeating that, and you're playing it on the drum, pick him up and knock him down, pick him up and knock him down.
Really?
And when you get that's how you learn the Biraha beat.
The Biraha beat.
Yeah.
So it's simple yet complicated.
Yeah.
You need to have a mind and an ear for it.
Yeah.
Because
So of course a drummer would be able to explain it more in detail.
right.
But that is how basically we as singers, we recognize that Nagara. Yeah.
Right, you have it in your mind what the beat is like.
Yes.
Back to the Cultural Foundation, is it a physical place as yet?
Yes, we have, it is at my home. We have a little office set up. But we basically do charitable work as well. So throughout the year, we do some charities where we go around looking for needy families because we have to uplift our people.
Of course.
Yes, so we do charities and whatnot, the case may be. And then we also did, like, very recently, the Biraha Raja Cultural Foundation has joined with the Yatra Committee to host Bhakti Me Fest.
Yes, yes, and we here at Ietv, we covered it
Yes,
as
you
well.
all covered it as well.
Yes.
And then I'm also joining with my good friends at Darpan Trading to helping them now to promote. There's a show coming up in August month. They are doing a part of the show as well, and I'm helping them as well. It's a cultural show. And then any little organizations and a lot of temples and stuff, when they call and they ask, hey, we're having the show, you could help us out. We would call, even if it's not financially, we assist, but if we can get artists to come, you know, and help support the cause and
Because
whatnot.
of course it works both ways.
Yes.
And we should always be our brother's keeper.
Of course.
A lot of times temples and mandirs may need assistance or seek assistance.
Yeah.
And you know, many of us would say, you know, if I had, I would have.
Yeah.
Okay, we may not have financially, but we could use our
Oh,
skills
yeah.
and what we have to make
Of
do.
course, yes.
To make do. How many members does your foundation have?
So far, our foundation has over about 58 members or so, and we are continuing to grow. Yes, we are. We also have within the foundation, we have a Chautal group,
Okay.
which has, the Chautal group alone is over 50 persons.
Really?
Yes, in fact, we were classed last year and even this year as one of the largest Chautal group in the East-West corridor.
Really?
Yes.
And well, it's something that I learned new today. I'm sure our viewers didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Because I know Chautal is performed for Pagwa.
Right.
And it's a big thing with Pagwa. It's a one-day celebration. But then you know what? We don't hear about the Chautal after that.
Right, and if I tell you something, you'll be quite amazed. Last year we had Chautal singing. We had to sing Chautal even 3-4 times for the year.
Really?
Yes, we had for Pagwa. Then there was this guy who passed away, and he used to sing Chautal. And at one of the memorial satsangs they had for him, they requested Chautal. At a function, at a show, in a cultural show, they opened the show with Chautal.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think we need more of that. We need for our culture to be highlighted
some more.
Because like I was saying, Chautal, that music is so catchy and so traditional and
Yes.
so us. But one day, you know,
yes.
we may hear it if we are lucky on the airwaves, 1 or 2 days before. But just the festival itself, why? For a Ramayana or satsang, we would hear the Biraha sometimes.
Yes.
We would hear the Sohars, we would hear the different types of music. But why? Why do you think?
Chautal is
And
a
why is it so
seasonal.
limited? It's seasonal.
It's a seasonal song for Pagwa or Holi.
Right,
Yes, that is sung in the month of Pagun.
right.
Yeah, and most of the Chautals, when you listen to the content of it, it will basically describe the festivities that takes place at the time of Holi. So you would hear a lot of Lord Krishna Chautal or Lord Rama Chautal, and it would basically talk about where they use the gulal or the beer and they play Pagwa or whatever. So
Right.
that's why those songs are basically kept for that time.
period. Where do you see your foundation going in a couple of years?
International. We have big dreams that we want to fulfill. One of our main goal, and by probably the end of next year we want to accomplish this, is right now we have some work going on to register with the Ministry of Cultural Development, and we are going to go around to rural villages in Trinidad and Tobago, and we're going to have these workshops where we're going to teach you for 2 days or so Biraha singing and whatever, and then at the end of it you get a certificate, not only from the foundation, the Biraha Raja Cultural Foundation, but also from the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
So it's a solid document you have.
Right.
And then from there we can enhance. If you want to go learn, if you want to come learn tabla, you want to come learn dolak, you want to enhance your Biraha singing some more, we will have these classes available as
Narish,
well.
before we go, can anyone sing Biraha? Can anyone learn Biraha? Is there an age limit?
There is not an age limit, and I can tell you in recent times what I have been seeing. I have been seeing now females singing Biraha, and I welcome it personally because it is all for the upliftment of the culture in Trinidad and Tobago.
And Tobago. Wonderful, wonderful closing words. Thank you so much, Narish, for being here today. Of course, once we have the time, I'm sure we do, after our interview, I will be featuring a Biraha song for our singers. I think one done by you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to seeing more of you on the show.
Thank you very much.
You're viewing the program From Darkness to Light on Ietv. We go to a short break and return with more. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Andy Johnson, inviting you to join me for This Week with Andy Johnson here on Ietv, a one-hour review of the top stories of the week and the major personalities behind the news. Beginning July 8th, This Week with Andy Johnson.
This Week with Andy Johnson, Sundays at 7 p.m., starting July 8th.
We all want to save money without compromising on the best quality insurance coverage. If you are renewing your motor or homeowner insurances soon, then call us at Ietv Consultants. With over 27 years in the insurance industry, we can offer you significant savings on your insurance premiums. As agent for Guardian Group, we assure you the best quality coverage at a very competitive price. Email us.
That he spoke about, you may also hear a couple of familiar words as well, some Bhojpuri words, as well as the entire atmosphere when someone sings a Biraha song. It's so uplifting and so cheery. So I hope that it does cheer you up on this gloomy looking afternoon. So after the song that I present to you, stay tuned because we have our cultural segment for today, and I'm taking you to Swaha's Swadeshi Competition 2017. I believe we have the instrumental bhajan segment today, so take a look at it, and I'm inviting you to stay tuned as well for major news at noon. In case you missed today's show, in case you tuned in a bit late, you can check out our Facebook page, Ietv News Trinidad and Tobago, and you can see this interview, this program, as well as any other live programming that we carried here on Ietv, as well as news and news updates. If you don't have access to Facebook, join us this evening at 5 p.m. for a repeat of today's show. So until tomorrow, be safe, take all precautions. Yes, the Met Office, they have a bit of a track record, but you know what? The clouds are here, the rain is here. Take all necessary precautions when it comes to flooding, flash flooding, gusty winds and showers. Do whatever you can do today, and especially if you're home, so you can stay home tomorrow and view the show. Until tomorrow, take care and be safe and stay tuned.
you're drowning, you're dying of thirst. Dear devotees, we are surrounded by so many opportunities. Today we have a great opportunity that can help support a great cause. Why let us let it face? Come on, devotees, pledge and support the UV Hindu Society as we continue this Bhajan Mala.
Final item in this category. Please welcome Om Shakti Mandali.
Our next category is the bhajan singing category, and there are 8 contestants, 8 of Swaha's centers and branches participating in this. Thank you very much, members of the Swaha Tulsi Manas Mandir. Our next temple that will be performing in the bhajan category is the Om Shakti Mandali, coming out of Coronation Street in Aranguez.
Hi, this is Jairam Dindyal, inviting you to join me for the Indian cultural vibrations.